What's up, guys? I'm BTC. A new build of the PTR is out, and with it are some pretty massive changes. Nerfs for D.va, buffs for Mei and Reaper. Let's get to it. We got a ton of stuff to get to, but first, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, because I always have the latest and greatest in Overwatch, so subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any of it. Alright, so first up on the list is D.va. She is currently the highest picked character in the entire game. That goes for the regular competitive ladder and in the Overwatch League, and she is now getting a nerf. So D.va's micro missiles, the explosive damage reduced from 6 to 4. Developer comments, D.va's burst potential is a bit too high and her micro missiles are a major part of that. Currently, each missile deals 3 impact damage and 6 explosive damage. We're reducing explosive damage from 6 to 4, but leaving the impact damage the same. The net result being 22% damage reduction. So D.va is definitely, as I said, a very powerful and very highly picked character, and where she is basically used now is a way to dive into the backline and you just instantly burst down one of the enemy supports, and there's really not a whole lot that they can do about it. Now, with this change, it's going to give those supports a little bit more survivability. Even with these changes, D.va is still going to be a very powerful and popular character, but this should help out at least a little bit in kind of diminishing the strength of the dive meta overall. Next up is Mei, and she's getting a pretty substantial buff. The endothermic blaster now pierces through enemies. Developer comments, this change helps Mei combat multiple targets that are clumped up, and also makes it easier to keep her freezing a specific target if another enemy gets in the way. In addition, this change helps her ultimate more consistently be able to freeze more targets, especially if they are near each other. Note, while her shots now pierce enemies, they still do not pierce barriers such as Reinhardt's shield. So, this is kind of an interesting change. It definitely makes the character a lot stronger, but I don't really know if it's going to do what Blizzard wants it to do. So the reason why they're buffing Mei and Reaper, we'll get to him in just a minute, is because they're trying to build up stuff that will be anti-tank meta. They don't want to bring back the triple and the quad tank stuff because a lot of people found that to be not really all that fun. So they're kind of beefing up Mei and Reaper. Now, the problem with what they're doing for Mei is that all those tank meta builds have a Reinhardt or an Orisa, and that barrier is just gonna stop her attack. So even though she's able to freeze everybody in that area and do damage to a lot of people, it's just going to be stopped by the barrier. So I really don't know how effective this is going to be. I guess we'll have to find out. Maybe there'll be some Mei and Lucio builds where, like, the Lucio just kind of speeds the Mei around and she just tries freezing absolutely everyone. Next up is Reaper. He's getting a couple of buffs. The Death Blossom now will automatically reload his shotguns after use. So quick little recovery time buff, so it allows him to get right back into it after that ult. But the big one is the Wraith form. Move speed bonus increased from 25% to 50%. That is a huge speed increase. And now you can cancel the ability by pressing the shift or primary fire button hotkey. So developer comments, these changes help Reaper use Wraith form more consistently as an escape, but they also open up new options, such as chasing down key targets. This is huge. This means that Reaper can now use that Wraith form a lot more in combat. Not just as an escape, not just as a way of kind of avoiding that damage, but because Wraith form automatically reloads your Hellfire shotguns, you can now, like, fire off all of his ammo and then quickly go into Wraith form, get that ammo back, cancel the Wraith form, and then continue the attack. So it's going to allow Reaper to apply a tremendous amount of pressure to whatever he is trying to go after. Next up is Moira. She's not actually getting any buffs or nerfs. They are changing some of the visibility stuff, though, so it should just kind of help basically everybody that's in the area, including Moira herself. So for the Biotic Grasp, the Coalescence, and the Fade, the transparency of the abilities will now get a little bit better as you're closer to the target. So developer comments, due to issues with visibility, we have made most of Moira's visual effects fade away the closer you are to the camera. We have also made modifications to Coalescence to greatly increase the ability for foes and allies alike to see through it when facing it. Basically, Moira's abilities put way too much stuff on the screen, so they're just making it easier to see through for friends and foes alike. And the last one is Zenyatta. He got a bit of a nerf. His Orb of Destruction, this is his right click, the secondary fire rate, was reduced by 15%. Developer comments, Zenyatta is meant to be able to deal a lot of damage, especially for a support, but his alternate fire burst damage was a bit too high. This change keeps the overall damage the same, but lowers the DPS slightly and makes it harder to hit multiple shots at very long ranges. Zenyatta is a very important part of that dive meta because his Harmony Orb is able to heal the Tracer, the Genji, the D.Va, the Winston, whoever at that very great distance and not really have to worry about it. Now, one of the confusing things is people see Zenyatta and they don't see him with any mobility and they don't understand why he's part of the dive, and it's because he's able to heal people at that great distance through the barriers, and of course the Discord Orb is very powerful to focus down and get rid of those targets. So this is a nerf not just to the character but also to the dive as a whole. So in addition to the D.Va change and in addition to the character of Brigitte being added to the game, plus Moira as well, this should actually do a pretty decent amount of damage to the dive meta as a whole. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. All of these changes are on the PTR if you want to go and try them out for yourself. What do you guys think about all of these changes? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out my Discord server. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter. The links for that stuff are down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.